What is going on, everybody? Welcome into this gorgeous Tuesday, November 29th, 2022 edition of the Energy News Beat Daily Stand-Up. I am your humble correspondent, Michael Tanner, coming to you from an undisclosed location here in Dallas, Texas, joined by the executive producer of the show, the purveyor of the show, and the director and publisher of the world's greatest website, energynewsbeat.com. My man, how you doing?
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I'm feeling a lot better. I was fairly sick over the weekend. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, though.
Yeah, I'm so sorry you got sick over Thanksgiving. That sucks.
Hey, spent less time with the in-laws.
As you always say. Well, we have a great show for everybody lined up today. Oil prices have recovered from their lows of about $74 as we had to watch it over Thanksgiving to about settling here all the way up to about $78. We're currently trading $76.54. So we'll cover what that means. Nat gas hovering around the 680 mark. We did have seen a spike current front month contract all the way up to $7.31. So fairly flat on the day when you consider the contracts rolled over. We'll cover all that in a bag of chips when it comes to prices. On the news side, Stu's got some spicy stuff per usual. Exxon Mobil, is it a buy or is it a sell? Interesting. We'll cover all of that. We also obviously are going to talk China oil demand. It's pretty much what is driving the overall markets right now, being us down, we're down 1.5 percentage points already in the overall markets. And a lot of that, again, is due to this China oil demand. So we'll cover all of that. Occidental Petroleum is now investing heavily in its low carbon future. Stu will talk about what that means. He'll do a little shout out to our friend Debra Wold, who's the CEO over at Grenelily. That was an interview you did, episode number 90 of the podcast you are listening to. Check us out on iTunes or Spotify. Outside of that, he's also, we've got a little wind energy, Stu. This one is wind energy in South Dakota, the number one producer of electricity, but not every day. I'm excited to hear what that one is. But before we dive into all of that, again, all of these stories are brought to you by the world's greatest website, Energy News Beat. You can check us out via the link below. We appreciate everybody who's checking us out on a daily basis. It's the best place for energy news, energy finance news, markets news. Stu does a great job of curating this website, and that the most relevant energy news gets put there. Whether you're in oil and gas, whether you're in more of an energy markets, this is a holistic view about how it all intertwines. It's, in my opinion, the world's best website. Check us out, www.energynewsbeat.com. Where you want to start, Stu?
Well, let's start with South Dakota. I love me some South Dakota. Now, one of this, you aptly said on there, you picked up on one quote in there, and it said, it's 56% of the energy. The title is Wind Energy is now South Dakota's number one producer of electricity, but not every day. Now, I love that. In the 52% of their electricity. But here's the thing that I got was interesting, Michael, out of this. They've installed a bunch of new wind turbines that are helping out get the megawatts out of that instead of the older ones. And where wind power has really had some serious issues is it's only 10 years of MTBF, mean time between failure. So you put the new ones in there, you only get 10 more years out of them. So them getting that much out of it is fabulous. But this brings up a very big issue, and that's storage. Because we've talked to Helen about the grid. We've talked to a lot of folks around the world. We've talked to Fry Storage. And I'm a storage fan when it's renewable batteries. So that way it does not make sense unless you can make those batteries renewable. And if you
I mean, it's the one thing, and it's what we experienced. I mean, the 3 cabins you own are by a lake. You have very low cost power. Why? Because you're hooked up to hydropower. I'm a huge hydropower fan. The problem is you can't transport it elsewhere. It's very localized. You get a little bit of hydropower. Obviously there are some things with the Hoover Dam. You can do them on larger scales, but by and large, that's very localized. It's again with wind. Love it. This is awesome, but it's localized. As you mentioned,
Right.
transmission, it's hard to move. That's where the new wave of investment. I mean, you're talking about all of this money pouring into the renewables
Right.
game, pour into transmission. Because if you could figure out how to route this stuff and store it in a much more efficient capacity,
Right.
that is where then renewables makes the jump to, oh, now it's a serious player, and you
Right.
probably does replace coal. You never replace natural gas, you never replace oil. But if you get to a 33 mix,
I think it's great. It's like Tom Jensen said on Fry Battery. They have new technology and then Ed Davidson today on LinkedIn showed on his film, he undid a regular lithium battery that's a double A. He undid it, and then he pulled the metal out of the lithium and he threw it into water and it blew up. That is frightening. So you take a look at the new battery technology around the world, it's changing. So technology is getting there. So
yeah.
that's why this
I mean, I also do just want to pump more American oil and gas. So I'm biased there.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. The president's calling. Okay. Just kidding.
Yeah, you got Biden on speed tap.
Yeah.
What's next?
Okay, next one is episode number 90 of our podcast, Debra Wold. She is a cool cat. Absolutely enjoyed her first podcast that we did. Went nuts. Michael, it was one of our big time episodes. And the reason that I find her technology extremely interesting is that she is a woman-owned business and CEO of Grenelily. Michael, they can take energy from any kind of methane sources. Can be landfill, could be cows. AOC loves her from the standpoint that, you get rid of the cows and she can now make that into real biodiesel, and you can also make it into ethanol. Here's the key difference. She can work with almost any polluting environment in this now. And she doesn't need, she does not need any tax subsidies. So all of a sudden, this is renewable the way it should be.
Oh, the key is, as you mentioned, they do not need tax subsidies to be profitable. No. I mean, even if they do get tax properties, great. That in my opinion is awesome.
Absolutely. And Debra is such a class act with her knowledge and everything else. She's a true woman-owned business as well as an industry thought leader. I just really enjoyed that. Okay, but it really fed along with the wind turbine and everything else. Now, China is having some serious problems here, dude. When you take a look at, we took a serious hit on the oil down to what, 70, it's 76 now. It regained a little bit, but it's because the zero policies on COVID in China. People are just afraid that demand destruction is just going to get wiped out. And they say it was a 40,052 according to the new national. When you're 75 billion people in China, what's 40,000?
I mean, it's pretty scary what's coming out of there, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah. And if you think that you can be a socialist in the United States and enjoy socialism, it's because you can speak. If you're in China and you want to be a socialist and you want to speak out, it ain't going to happen. So anyway, that is there.
Stu's fighting for the rights of socialists. Stu is fighting for the rights of socialists.
I value everybody's opportunity to speak their mind.
I'm just joking, Stu. We have a little fun here.
No, we're not allowed to have fun. Okay. So I've been talking to some investors today, and that is one of their concerns. And so you look at long term, that's what this is about.
Yeah, I mean, it's China is this whole China narrative between, kind of going back and sticking with that COVID zero is, I've heard today COVID normal is what they're now dubbing it, because it's just going to be the
Say that
normal
again.
policy. It's just going to be
COVID normal.
Yeah, I heard someone say it's not COVID zero over there. It's just going to become the new normal. We should start calling it COVID normal.
Oh, how funny!
It was just a little joke. I wish I knew who it was. I'll probably have to find. It's on Twitter somewhere. We'll put it in the show notes. I'll find the tweet and send it to you. But it's pretty funny. And if that's going to be this, if because of that, they're going to have less oil demand. If Stu has already taught us last week that demand destruction is worse and harder to fix than supply crunches, I mean, this is leading to, it's the reason why prices have been lagging. I mean, we're up a little bit today,
Right.
Not to get too ahead of ourselves, but because of the comments made on Friday by OPEC, which we'll cover in a little bit. But I mean, if China, S&P's already revising their Q4 oil demand downwards by 62,000 barrels a day. I mean, that's not a small amount. Gasoline demand down 36,000 barrels a day.
Along those
overall,
lines,
2020 demand is expected to fall by 550,000 barrels a day. I mean, that's significant being taken off the market. And
well, Michael, part of that is being taken off the market because they can't produce it. So there's a difference right there. And so when you take a look, whether or not they can even produce anymore is that question. So we still will. I'm a permabull on it, but I mean, yeah, permabull. I mean, it's not like we're not gonna get there. I am wrong. I thought it was going to be 120 by now, and we only saw 120 for about a biscuit longer than a second.
I mean, it was a fun couple days. Trust me. Those economics looked real good. Everyone wanted new economics at $120 oil. It was a fun exercise. But
the next one is Occidental Petroleum, and then that's going to feed into our Exxon story. And Occidental Petroleum, I love Oxy. I think that they are a stand-up company. I think that they have done everything right. They established the new low carbon business, and they've opened it up, and the CEO, she said that it's almost $1 trillion business that they're trying to go after. And why do you think Warren Buffett is now buying so much Occidental? That man is not stupid. So Occidental Petroleum investing heavily, and Warren Buffett's investing in it. Man, that's
which is interesting because he is I would not have guessed Warren Buffett would have gotten involved, would go the oil company that he would go all in on. I would have guessed would have been like a pure oil producer, because that seems to be more his style. He buys railroads, he buys insurance companies, he buys things that aren't sexy, but that if done right can produce a lot of money. And at scale, something like Occidental, they should be able to print money in these type of environments.
The ESG portion of Occidental is on the money, and it is absolutely we need to they've been also in water management, water purification. I mean, they have 45Q tax credits. They're hitting it out of the park. So that bleeds over into Exxon that you and I were teasing about yesterday. And Exxon is now I'll let you talk about Exxon here, but Exxon and BP and a few of the others were trying to use their money to get into renewables. And then as they're into renewables, they use their oil and gas to fund the renewables. Occidental went all the way and said, we're creating a whole new market in carbon capture and will truly be green. Now Exxon's going, hey, I want me some of that Occidental.
Well, here's the thing. So is Exxon becoming overpriced, and would I buy it? That's the title of the headline.
But you got to
Personally, yeah, I think oil and gas equities are outstretched because they've consistently gone up and maintained decent value through this destruction from not destruction, but through this lull from where we had 80, 90, 100 fairly consistently, now down to the mid 70s. I mean, again, you're going to see another sustained drop lower. I mean, our XOP contract was down 3.5 percentage points, so the markets didn't like it too much. I mean, I'm still buying energy equities because I still think we're not going lower than 75. There probably is a bull case more than a bear case, even though I'm just a natural bear. I'm a pessimist. And I can admit that. I can admit that. Stu's trying not to smile. He's trying to hold back. So no, I don't necessarily think we're necessarily overstretched, I guess. I really think that if anything, we're at a point of consolidation and it's sort of picking your entrance point. Do you want to trade on a long term? I think there's upside, but I do think there's going to be an opportunity here where things consolidate and you're going to be able to get a nice entrance point and say, okay, where do I really want to get in and lay a lot of my, whatever gunpowder that you might have. So, I mean, am I buying Exxon right now? Probably not right now, but I'm still buying energy. I'm probably scanning and looking for entrance points elsewhere. I mean, I'm sure I haven't really done this exercise, in a couple months, but maybe it's time to sit down again and just take a look and report my findings back to everybody on, I wonder if there is some companies out there that are in a decent buying position right now. If the thesis is, because again, every good trading thesis, again, we don't give advice, but if I were to give advice, every good trade starts with a macro thesis. Where do you just think things are going? Are they going up or are they going down? Because you can look at a chart and it can tell you whatever you want. You can throw on all the fancy volumes. You can throw on all the moving averages, but it's all going to ground in a thesis of, I think oil prices are going up. Therefore, I need to find somewhere and use all of this technical analysis to find an entrance point that supports the fundamental analysis. Not giving trading advice, but that's how I would maybe look at it.
And energy is still where you want to go. Do you remember N phase? I was big on N phase when you and I were running the show quite a while ago. It was at 120. It's at 3. Where is it? 312.
We were on PDC early. I remember we were on PDC early. I remember we made a lot of money on PDC. We had PDC at I remember we bought them at $24, $25. They're trading at $72.
We do not offer advice.
That was actual money. We would have made a killing.
This one is the only one that I made that much money on.
Hey, wait, it only takes one. It only takes one. And that's why you should never take advice from us. We are idiots.
Yes. But we're fun.
Is that it for the news? Yeah. Anything else?
No, we're going to have a really interesting week this week.
I can't wait. When you say that depresses me. So on brighter news, crude oil was up, and at the time of recording, which is about 7:03 p.m. the night before, we just opened up back oil up to 76.77. So I mean, we were all the way up to 78 today. We've had a little weakness in the rest of the day. Again, there's two things we're balancing. We talked ad nauseum earlier about China and what they're doing on the demand destruction side. But OPEC has also come out and said we're willing to balance the markets. And I love the way they run this, Stu. According to the Iraq State News Agency, they quoted Sadoun, I'm going to butcher this name, Sadan Mohsen. He's a senior official at the country's state oil marketer. Here's what they said. Quote, the OPEC meeting in December will take into account the condition and the balance of the market. Ooh, that's what you remember we talked about Fed speak. Fed speaks on Wednesday. We're gonna hear a lot of Fed speak. This is OPEC speak. This is OPEC speak for oh, we're cutting production, baby. We are trying to go up, up, up. And that's what's balancing. We were at $74 to open. We were again up to 78 today, now down all the way to 76.82 right now. So we're seeing a little bit of a bullish as we open up this nightly trading session. Tensions are in there, and it's, back and forth in terms of the supply and demand sort of pulling each other. And those two counterweights keeping it. So we'll keep an eye on it, Stu. I have a hard time telling you which way it's going to go, other than, it's going to be kind of a day by day fight. You can make a lot of cases for a lot of different scenarios. What do you think? If you're revising your oil prediction, you thought we'd be at 120. Okay, fair. What are you revising to now? You going down 95? Like, where are you at?
I'm between 90 and 100 through the rest of the year. And then after that, depending on geopolitical type stuff, let me explain something. Those two missiles that went from supposed Ukraine into Poland.
Oh, yeah.
Any time a missile is taken off in the world, the U.S. military knows where it is being shot at, where it's going, length of time, who shot it. You can't tell me that they didn't know who shot those. That's bullcrap. So if something like that happens, we're only two missiles away from $120 to $150 oil.
You put it so candidly. We're two missiles away from $120 oil. Oh my!
I've got sources that have said they even knew when Russians launched a MiG and shot down a plane within minutes. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, on the nat gas side, choppy again today. We had a little bit of a upward momentum. We're currently trading at $7.32, but that's because we just rolled over into the January contract. The December contract closed at $6.80, so a little bit of actual weakness. Again, we're getting mixed weathers on weather forecasts. As always, you're going to get new ones that come in every single day. This one was a little bit more of a milder outlook, and estimates of really strong production to start this week. It'll be very interesting to see what the draw numbers come out on Thursday. I think, Monday back from Thanksgiving, everyone's, really only tapped in for 2 weeks. So I think you're seeing a lot of this stuff pop a little bit. Where's the little quote I wanted to sync? Here we go. EBW Analytics Group analyst Eli Rubin basically adjusted their near-term forecast for gas-weighted heating days and about 45 BCF of natural gas demand versus pre-Thanksgiving holidays, which is, like I said, a 24 BCF drop. So, that's on the demand side. So we were talking about, Chinese oil demand drop. We might see a little bit based on these new models that are a lot more milder for the winter. You're talking about a 24 BCF demand drop on our side for what's necessary. So again, I'm going to be particular about pointing about things on the demand side because as Stu has taught us, I'm just following the rules that you taught me, Stu. Demand is worse than supply. And it's true. I agree with them, but so that's really what I'm focusing on there. Obviously, Freeport is coming back in February. I sound like a broken record, but that is, again, going to put upward pressure. I am much more bullish on gas prices than I am on crude oil. But I think that's everything, Stu. The markets overall, they were down about 1.5 percentage points today. Consumer confidence will drop at 10 a.m. this morning. So you'll get to hear that as it comes in live on Wednesday. We've got Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaking. We'll hear a lot of Fed talk. Don't expect him to be too dovish. I expect, interest rates continue to stay the same. So again, choppy outlook on the news side. What should people be worried about today?
Two missiles. No, just kidding. No, we are. Look at you.
Shot to the heart. Two missiles. I'm like ducking under my desk here.
Oh, absolutely. I've done that when I grew up. Get under your desk. But no, what really the big thing is next week when we have OPEC Plus And on December 5th, the sanctions are supposed to kick in sometime, but they can't really agree on them right now. So we're wait. This is a wait and see right now.
Yeah, we really are in a wait and see mode. And, I expect more of these little leaks, not just from Iraqi officials, but from maybe other officials about, yeah, they're going to probably come in and cut production because Brent's at $84. They want to hire. Trust me.
Oh, they do.
They love themselves that $100 Brent, which is, probably about $85 to $90 oil. I'll take that. So, all right, guys, well, we're going to get out of here, let you start your day. Hopefully it's quick and you're off to a great week after Thanksgiving. For Stuart Turley, I'm Michael Tanner. We will see you guys tomorrow.